I could hear the hooves of the Persian horses approaching as I ran towards the only place where I knew they wouldn't follow me. The forest of petrified souls. I had killed their general in fair combat, but for them there was no cut off your head, she continued as she rose from the rock with movements fluid as water. Or you can try to kill me like the hero you think you are and end up as stone decorating my garden. The snakes on her head hissed in unison as if laughing at the idea. And what's the third option? I asked, because I knew there was something more. Smart for a soldier. The third option is you stay with me forever and I protect you from your enemies. I couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of the proposal. Stay here eternally with you? Why would I want to do that? warrior and a lonely Gorgon.